This is the fatherhood experience. Turn it up, cause tonight you'll learn how to leave behind the average dad life. This the fatherhood experience. It's time to lead my family and become the father figure I deserve to be. The fatherhood experience.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fatherhood Experience, where we help dads become better dads. I'm your host today, Jason Priest, and we've got a very special episode for you today. I'm actually moving my family from Dallas to San Antonio in 2 days, and so we're sleeping on the floor in an empty house, and Zach actually has a dual birthday party and baby shower for his upcoming baby girl. His parents are flying in, so we've got a lot going on right now. And we're not in a great position to do a podcast together. So what we're going to do for you today is we are going to share an exclusive sneak peek into one of our fatherhood classes. We've never had this on the show. And this class was titled Mental Nutrition. This is in our highest level program, again, called the Fatherhood. And this is where we work very closely with our guys through fitness, family, finance, and freedom. We do a lot of leadership, a lot of personal development talk, a lot of talk about raising our standards, just like we do here on the show. And so if you get value out of today's class or out of today's show, please do me one favor and just share the show. This is a pure value exchange. We don't run ads. We're not here to bore you. I'm not here to waste your time. And I'm not here to promote shit that I don't use. All right. We're here to tell you the truth. We're here to speak the truth and nothing but the truth. And so please do me one favor. If you get any value out of today's episode, just share it with another dad in your life who could potentially get better because of this episode. So buckle up, you guys. Enjoy this mental nutrition class, and I'll talk to you after the class is over. Okay, welcome to our Tuesday class. Tonight, we are going to be talking about mental nutrition and your inner voice. Give you guys a little bit of a brief preface with this. I think a big common theme at the retreat was mindset, mental health, and really what we put into our minds. I think a lot of us have a tendency to feed our minds the wrong things. I'm guilty of that as well. I will just speak to my own experience over the last, let's say, year or so. I've had a few periods of time where I went down the negative social media rabbit holes, and it truly affected my mental health, and I had to pull way back from that. The reality is, you know, a lot of us in this room aren't okay with what's going on in the country. Really around the world, but there's a fine line between staying tuned in so that you know what's going on, so you're at least informed, so you can at least protect and provide your family and be the man that you know you need to be, but then also being overly consumed with things that are out of our control. Right? There's an importance of having a voice and speaking up and standing up for what you believe in, but there's also an importance there's an importance behind protecting that fragile 6 inches between our ears. You guys know that, you know, what we focus on is who we become. Really, is wherever your focus is your superpower. And then you guys are putting positivity in your mind. You're putting quality mental nutrition, if you will, into your head. It's going to pay off big time, really, for your happiness and your overall well-being. I know that, you know, we've had clients that have come through that go down the political rabbit hole quite a bit, and I've seen them go through mental health struggles and then bounce back when they put it down, right? And so, you know, it's not just the politics. There's a lot here that we're going to unpack tonight. But I know that was a common theme for us at the retreat, was really the importance of feeding our minds the right things. It's why we're so big on gratitude. It's why we're so big on you guys documenting your daily wins and really at least bringing that to the forefront of your mind. It's why we're so big on the reading, the leadership reading, the habit reading. It's why we're so big on getting tuned into podcasts that are actually going to benefit you and move you forward in life. You know, so mental nutrition is a big thing, and that's what we're going to unpack tonight. Zach, what do you got on mental nutrition, my man?
Well, I want everybody
tie it into a little bit of retreat too. If you want to share some thoughts on the retreat, we got three of the 4 attendees. Yeah, Dave's the only one. Might be bowling right now, but
yeah, I think his season's done. He might be busy doing some other things, like hitting the gym. Man, he's got a newfound motivation.
Plan. Yes, he does.
Yeah, he's probably out there crushing, man. So yeah, the retreat was freaking awesome. Thanks guys for showing up, and hope to see some of you guys at the next one, man. We did talk a lot about mindset stuff, killing off an old you to become the new one, right? Taking out some of the old things and unwinding all those bad behaviors that we've accumulated and practiced over the course of our lives, and changing it into something else, man. Because the reality is, I said this before and I will say it again, and I want you guys to remember that your obsessions become your possessions, right? If you obsess over something, you will achieve it, whether it's good or whether it's bad. Now, one thing that you have to understand is that the bad shit's easy to obsess over.
Yes, it
It's
is.
easy to possess. So you are fighting an uphill battle, and you have to train your mind to start focusing on that which is good, so that your thought process determines your actions. Because people don't put enough stock on how your brain affects your life, literally directly. Reason being is because the way that I think is going to determine what the hell comes out of my mouth, and what the hell comes out of my mouth might negatively or positively sway somebody that you might be interacting with, and that might actually be hurtful or helpful to that relationship, because you never know. It's kind of like the butterfly effect, right? If I do something that's good, that might just send waves down in the right direction, man, and you know what I mean, they're down the line. But if it's bad, you might have a missed opportunity. There's a saying that says you're one handshake away from just changing your life. And if you're focusing on negative shit, that fucking person that might change your life might put you in jail. They might get you killed. They might make you a drug addict. You never know, because it goes both ways. But when you're trying to do something that's good for you, it's significantly harder, which is why it takes a lot more focus and energy to make it do so. Like I say, before something becomes effortless, it has to be effortful, but it pays dividends to work towards these things. Whereas when you just obsess over bullshit and drama and gossip, reality TV, guess what you're going to attract in your life, dude? You ever hear those guys and girls that say, man, there's no good girls out there, they're all whores. There's no good guys out there, they're all players. Well, your obsessions become your possessions, right? So you keep obsessing over the fact that everybody's a piece of shit. So all you do is attract pieces of shit. And guess what? You don't help yourself when you go to places where pieces of shit roam. So you got to surround yourself with people who are going to help push you up. Okay. So I like to see the world in just one of two ways, man. They're going to be people who are above you, who will reach down and lift you up. We talked about this at the retreat. And then there's everybody else. And unfortunately, I feel like this is the majority of the world. Even though they seem like nice people on the surface, when you boil it down, they're just looking out for their own selfish needs. That's it. So instead of them lifting you up from where they are, they're over there trying to step on your head to push you down, because that gives them the illusion of I'm getting better. But really, they're just trying to drag your name down and make you worse. And I know you guys all know those people who talk shit and they only applaud in public and talk shit behind closed doors. Those are the people that I'm talking about, man. They're common as hell. They're so common. If they can kick you down to the floor, it makes them feel that they've leveled up, but they're in the same damn place. They're just trying to drag your name through the dirt. You need to surround yourself with people who are above you in whatever area you're trying to work on. Look up to them, heed their advice. And I guarantee you that if you're listening and they catch notice of that, they're going to lift you up because they want to bring you along for the ride. Anybody and everybody who's ever done anything great will never negatively criticize you for taking that first step, no matter what. I think I said a couple coaching calls ago, that person who's like an Instagram influencer, they're never going to criticize you for making your first video because they had to do the same shit. That YouTube guy with 1 million subscribers, they're not going to criticize you in your first video because they had to make a first one too. That person in the gym who's ripped and has a six-pack ab, man, he's never going to talk shit because you don't know what you're doing. He's going to admire the fact that you're in the gym making shit happen because he had to bench press for the first time once as well. You got to surround yourself with other people who are going to lift you up, not drag your name in the mud like most people do. You got to remember that, guys. There's only a positive and a negative, man. There's those neutral ass people in life. No, that shit's negative. Doesn't help. Doesn't help. You're growing or you're dying. That's it. There's no in between.
Love it, dude. Raymond was chiming in before we really started jamming on the focus thing. I think he said it when I said, he said, where focus goes, energy flows. Right. And then he came in and as you're describing, you never even use the term, but we've said it 100 times. And he says the crabs in a bucket analogy, right? And so these guys are well trained on what we got going on here, but love it, Raymond. What I will tell you, dude, is another thing that we noticed at the retreat. And, oh, by the way, we gotta welcome our new guy, Andrew. Welcome, dude.
Andrew, welcome, man.
Yep. So one of the things I noticed at the retreat too, and I've done a lot of content around this. Any of you guys that follow my actual like daily posts, you know that I've been talking about this for a while now, and it's very easy to choose our own mental health issues, right? Because we're choosing to not do the things that we know are going to move us forward. And I know that it's funny. This has been a common theme a lot at multiple retreats, and that when Jason brings his daunted meditation out, right? Everyone's like, "Oh, wait, this is kind of weird," right? Like every one of you guys has tried it, and you feel fucking magical after you do it a couple of times. But then Jason brings the radio on. It's like, oh God, it's going to get weird. It's going to get weird. I'm like, why aren't you guys doing this more often? Right? Same thing. And I just use the meditation thing because there's the gratitude journal, right? There's the little tiny things that we do on a daily basis that can either move us forward and serve us at a high level, or they can move us backwards a little bit if we don't do those things. And so again, most of personal development, growth, mindset, mental health, all revolves around the things that we have you guys doing on a day-to-day basis with your fitness. We talk about the workouts. We talk about sleep. We talk about stress management. We talk about putting the right things into your brain. We talk about nutrition, right? All those things that you're doing to grow as a man are all revolving around your health pretty much, other than the reading component, right? And you continuing to have drive for whatever your purpose is in life or whatever your whatever dream you're chasing. And so I find it not comical, but it's very ironic for me because like, I'm not going to sit here on a pedestal and tell you guys that I meditate every day either. I know that when I do it, I feel great. When I don't do it, I miss it a little bit, but it's always ironic to me. It's like when I get around our own guys, still, even though we continue to pound the table on it, it's still a challenge to continue to do the little things that you know are going to move you forward each day. It's like the GBR method when we talk about that, right? The gratitude, breathing, and reading. A lot of guys cut out the reading because they don't have time, right? Well, if you get up 5 to 7 minutes earlier, you do have the time, and now you're starting your day even a little bit more powerfully because now you've got that positivity in your brain to start the day, whether that's a leadership book, extreme ownership, or habit building book, Atomic Habits, whatever that may be. And so I know that the mental nutrition, we all know what we should be doing, right? It's kind of like the fat loss piece. We all know what we should be doing, but I know that I spoke on this a little bit at the retreat as well, as like finding the path of least resistance so that your habits, especially when it comes to the mindset stuff, they start to become more and more robotic. Like Zach said, you gotta do it and get, I don't know what the fucking, you just use some kind of phrase, but before it becomes easy, it's got to be hard for a while, right? And
before it's effortless, it's effortful.
Yeah. There you go. So it's never going to be effortless for you guys to go to the gym, except I gotta throw this in there. Zach's anybody that went to the retreat. I went to the gym yesterday and struggled to get my 5 exercises in. I mean, I was like, on the 5th one, I was like, fuck, I am so ready to get out of here. We'd just gotten back, had a long drive. I was in the gym. I wanted to start the week off with a bang. And it was a struggle to get the 5th exercise in. When we went to the gym as a group at Canyon Lake, I never do more than 6 exercises. Like that's my max. Like if I do a longer day, I did 10 exercises. I did a full leg day and a full shoulder day and threw in a bicep exercise and something else. I can't tell you the last time I did 10 exercises. I think it was back when I used to take that shit that I told you guys about called dark rage. It was legal, and then it turned. It's like the C4 stuff now. So I can't remember the last time I did that. And the only reason I wanted to highlight that is because, dude, it was literally almost effortless for me to do 10 exercises surrounded by a group of dudes who are all in there fucking struggling together, right? Like that, something about that made the workout pretty easy. And I went home and I'm still my biceps are still sore from Saturday. And so had to get that in there because, dude, like being surrounded by the right people, being surrounded by the right brotherhood is also a massive part of the mental nutrition as well. So wanted to throw that in. It was night and day difference between my motivation and drive to get 5 exercises done versus 10 exercises. And it was literally night and day. So thank you guys for lifting me up during a workout that I desperately needed. But power community, dude, it's so huge. And you guys know that. Yeah, you got a bunch of welcomes, Andrew. I know Andrew's not big on Facebook, but we're going to try to get him over there and weasel him into the group like we have some of you guys, though. So he'll pop in. So, good shit. Go for it, Zach.
Yeah, man. So one thing I had to go into the vault into this one, man. Something that I wrote down on, as a matter of fact, I dated it, dude. This was actually August 2018. I learned this from a guy who is well on his way to becoming a billionaire. He's worth probably $500 million at the time. And same guy who said that obsessions become your possessions. He's talked about how humans every day have approximately 60 or 63,000 thoughts every single day. Touched on this at the retreat as well, man, but it's very worth sharing once more because I've said this like a year ago, maybe on this call. And there are theories saying that that might be too much or that's not enough or whatever it is. So I'm going to use the range just to cover all my bases here, right? So they say it could be anywhere between 5, 10, 15,000, all the way to 70,000 thoughts per day. Now, what's most important about this is not just the number of thoughts that we have in a day, but the percentage in which they are the same exact thoughts. We will gravitate towards the same thought process every single time because our bodies are built physiologically and psychologically to be as efficient as possible. So we have our go-tos, right? We're going to either have our go-to behaviors, whether it's good or bad, our go-to thoughts, whether it's results driven or whether it's excuse driven. But the bottom line is what you guys need to realize is that perception is reality. Our brain does not know the difference between what is real and what's not, which is why if you tell yourself a lie enough times, you start to actually believe it. And that's a fucking problem, dude, because most people lie to themselves in the worst way possible. Now, I'm telling you, if you're going to lie, quote unquote, lie to yourself and say, I'm going to be the most successful, most wealthiest person that my family has ever seen, that is a lie I want you to tell yourself, because in order for you to actually ever become that, you got to believe it first, right? And I know it sounds corny, but you got to take on the identity of that person and start carrying on the behaviors in order for you to ever have an opportunity or a chance to even scratch that surface. But it's easy to just come with an excuse. I'm like, fuck that. I don't want to go to the gym. I'm tired. I'm tired. My kid woke me up last night. I don't want to. Shit, if I made that excuse every time my kid woke me up, I wouldn't have been to the gym for like 8 months now. It's a mess, man. So the bottom line is, like I said, guys, we have an extremely small window of opportunity to change our thought process. Well, of all the numbers, again, irrelevant in this case, 91% of those thoughts are exactly the same stuff is where I was going to get at. So we only have about 9% of the thoughts that we have on a day-to-day basis to make it conducive to our goals, to make it productive, to make it be focusing on changing, altering the way that the 91% thinks. A lot of it's going to be autonomous, right? Traffic, work, home, cooking, blah, 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 blah. But that 9%, dude, if we could have that 9% start becoming part of that 91%, now we are shifting our identity. Now we are conforming and changing our lives to becoming the man we want to be, that we know we can if we just put in enough work and time, because that's all this shit is, guys. It's just a good plan multiplied by a certain amount of time, depending on where you are and what it is you want to achieve in order for you to turn something that's a maybe if into a when it will happen. But you got to put in the fucking work, man. So guys, your thought process is going to determine your life. Believe it or not, man, I don't care what you think. This game of life is just one big fucking brain game of decision making. That's all it is, right? Because if you do something, it's going to help you or hurt you. If you don't do something, it's going to help you or it's going to hurt you. But everything has, here's another example. Like there's something called the opportunity cost in business, right? Where if you do one thing, you lose the opportunity for another. So you got to make sure that whatever it is that you're doing is going to be helpful, not hurtful. Because there's always, it's like the law of physics, right? There's a plus, there's a minus, equal and opposite force. Like if you guys are starting to understand kind of where I'm going here, you got to make sure that you're doing shit that's just going to help you, not hurt you. So Jason, take over. I got the AC guy over here trying to fix.
No, you're good, dude. I wanted to get a couple of words in, but you were rolling. So it's generally me who won't shut the fuck up. So I let you go. So real quick, before I want to stack onto that, and I wanted to read Enrique's comment here first, though. When I was coaching my son's flag football team, I was in a very positive mindset, and it's paid off. I ran into one of the coaches of another team last week while buying a travel trailer. Found out he is a service and parts manager, and he's hooked me up with discounts on things that I need for the trailer. You never know who's watching and if they'll cross your path again. Hell yeah, dude. I love to hear that, Enrique. It sounds to me like you're turning a quarter, my man, and I'm in your corner, dude. I'm pulling for you big time, so I love to hear that. Yep, Andrew, you got a lot of welcomes. Bruce says, had a rough weekend with a lot of events and travel. Fell behind on my gratitude journal and daily wins. It definitely set me back a few days. Felt like I had to start all over after the decent start. Affected my sleep, eating, and who else knows. When I started getting back to the basics yesterday and today, I felt like I was back on track. The little things matter. Hell yeah, dude. You know, Bruce, I'm so pumped that you noticed that even after a short amount of time. Andrew, this is huge for you to hear too, because Bruce came on, I think like 2 weeks ago, like not very much time. And so if that, and so he's already seeing the benefit of the tiny little habit stacking. And so what Zach was alluding to, that 91%, it is, you guys know this, like, and this goes back to the, choosing the hard things when you don't want to do the hard things. And, we might all on the surface say a gratitude journal is a hard thing, and the last thing that you want to think about is putting in a little effort to start the day, right? But when you start to stack these habits, you start to stack the things that are meaningful, but are actually going to move the needle just a little bit, right? I know that in Atomic Habits, James Clear talks about habit stacking. And when we talk to you guys about things becoming robotic, that's exactly what I mean. Like when you get up every day, and Zach's done the discipline points talk before, but when you get up every day, the drive to do the things that are going to move you forward is there. You all have it. You all want to move forward. But each of you, depending on what area we're talking about, might have to allocate additional discipline points to whatever that focal point is, right? And so wherever you feel like you've got the most room to grow is where you need more where you need more discipline points. For somebody like me, I'm not going to really talk myself out of a workout because it's already programmed in there, right? Like when my arm is fully healed, my ass will be back in the gym 4 days a week. I'm hoping that that's when we get moved to San Antonio in another month, that I'll be back in there 4 days a week, back to my normal, right? When we were at the gym on the retreat, I was able to do some lateral raises with a cable with no pain, which was very exciting. I have not had no pain on that with a lateral raise in fucking probably a year. So I'm excited about that. The reason I tell you that is because when I talk about minimum standards with you guys, and I talk about the fact that I won't allow myself to fall below 3 workouts, it took me a long ass time to get there, right? For you guys, like you might be struggling to hit a workout every week. Some weeks you might do really, really well. Some weeks you might fall off a little bit. And it's just that slow progression of getting to the point where you're stacking habits and you're raising your standards just a little bit at a time, just a little bit more and a little bit more. Some of you guys have been around a while and you continue to grow a little bit. Some of you have been around, had a setback, and now are ascending again, right? We're all on our own journey, but I cannot overemphasize the mental nutrition piece. If you're putting the right things into your mind, it is going to benefit you greatly. You might not see it in the moment. I know that some of you guys, we've got a couple guys in the community right now that are going through a real dark time. If you're in a dark spot, it's even more important for you to double down on the things that are going to be good for this, because this is your driving force, your fucking brain. If you're not putting the right things into your brain, it's the same thing as you going out and eating fast food 3 or 4 times a day and feeling like shit on the inside, right? Your gut is your other brain, all right? Your brain is the utmost important thing that you can protect. And when you start to filter in the things are going to move you forward, and you start to filter out the things that are holding you back, whether that's, Zach talked about people in your life, whether that's your environment, whether that's setting up social media in a way that it's not going to sabotage you, whether that's getting rid of some of the friends on Facebook that don't do anything but post about negative shit. Maybe you're following some Instagram accounts that show you nothing but a bunch of fucking naked girls flopping their titties around, and damn good and well you need to improve your relationship with your wife, right? That shit's poison, man. So you got to set yourself up in a way. Look, I'm not going to tell you that I don't like to look at some bouncing titties, right? If I'm on vacation and I say, hey, wifey, that chick's pretty hot, I'm just going to tell you, I'm looking at her. She's going to be all right with that. We talked about that too. She's going to be all right with it. That's not something I need to be doing every single day, fucking with my head. And now my relationship with my wife starts to suffer because I'm living in fantasy land, looking at naked chicks and watching porn. That's not a recipe for success, as you guys all know, right? So what you're putting in here is literally the driving force behind everything. Zach talked a minute ago, and he was talking about the percentages, and I wanted to throw this in. This is when I read Enrique's comment. Oh, by the way, Zach, you need to check that comment out by Enrique with his soccer coach thing.
I saw it. I liked it. Hell
it's
yeah,
great.
Man.
Yeah.
Apologize for the disruption, but if I don't have an air conditioning unit in Vegas, I will die.
You're in trouble. Yeah.
I need that.
So what I wanted to throw in there is we did a video. I'm going to go back and find this damn thing because we did a class. I can't remember if it was 6-8 months ago. Nick Young was still in the community, so it's been a bit. we did a class that had a video with this guy talking about like how repetitive your life is, right? Like the example that I used was that my wife literally could drive to work with her eyes closed and she works 40 minutes away, right? Literally your brain just already knows where you're going. You go through these continuous mundane tasks every single day. It's the fucking brushing your teeth and taking a shower and taking a shit, doing all the things you know you're going to do. This is almost automatic, right? It's on autopilot. Think about if you could have all the behaviors that you know are going to move you forward on autopilot. Think about where you'd be right now and what your journey would look like. That's the goal that we should all be striving for, to get our standards up just enough where those things become autopilot. And then when we do take our foot off the gas on a vacation or a Christmas, or maybe you slip up, you have a fun weekend, you're like, fuck it, you know what? I've worked my ass off for the last few months. I'm just gonna take my foot off the gas for a weekend so that I could have it and be right back on Monday, right? Those times become extremely enjoyable when you know that, hey man, you know what? Monday rolls around and I'm right back at it. But right now, I'm gonna enjoy the shit out of this time, and I'm not gonna worry about a thing, right? That's the magic moment for all of us, right? You get to a point of maintenance, or you get to a point where you're in charge of physique manipulation. You know that I personally know, if I start eating 2,000 calories a day extra and I go to the gym 6 days a week and lift heavy, my ass is going to look a lot more like Zach in 6 months, 8 months. If I don't do that and I continue to doing what I'm doing right now, I'm not going to gain any weight. If I stop eating one of my meals, and I'll slip back down into the 160s, and my wife's not going to be very happy. I didn't like it either. I look a little weird. But I was lean as fuck. And so that's the goal, man. Get your health habits repetitive enough, get your standards high enough to where all those autopilot things start to play to your advantage. The gratitude journal, it almost becomes just programmed into your mind. You get up every day and you're already practicing it when you wake up, right? I already know that that's the first thing I'm thinking about, because I know that if I start thinking about positivity immediately, then my brain's going to start attracting more of that positivity as the day unfolds. And I'm more prepared to fight back against any adversity that comes my way. So,
hell yeah.
Yep. Raymond says, hell yeah, Enrique, way to set the example. You are the accumulated result of the decisions you have made and not made over the span of your life. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Good shit, Raymond.
Yeah, I want to actually let's talk about Bruce's, man. Bruce, I see a comment, man. For those of you that haven't read it yet, I know sometimes it's hard to see if you're out on a walk and you're on your phone, but he said, had a rough weekend with a lot of events and travel, fell behind on my gratitude journal and daily wins. It definitely sent me back a few days. Felt like I had to start all over after the decent start. Affected sleep, eating, and who else knows. When I started getting back to the basics yesterday and today, I felt like I was back on track. The little things matter. One thing that I want you guys to be very aware of is that you don't start from scratch, you start from experience. A lot of people, and by the way, Bruce, way to recognize and get right back on that shit, man, because that is how winners win, right? They don't let that shit defeat them. It's like we talked about this before, right? Oh shit, I passed out on the couch, I got drunk, I didn't brush my teeth, I forgot. Fuck it, I'll start on January 1st. You know what I mean? What the fuck? New year, new me. I'm not gonna brush my teeth for the next 8 months. People think like that when it comes to certain things, which is dumb as shit, right? And I always say that. I use that example. I'm like, dude, you didn't take a shower, you forgot. Dude, it doesn't mean you don't take a shower for the rest of the year until new year, new me bullshit comes up again. Same thing with brushing your teeth. Oh, I forgot, I skipped lunch. I was so busy. What, you're not gonna eat lunch for the rest of your days? Come on, like cut it out. We don't start from the bottom. We just start from experience. And the more that you mess up, but get back up, the easier it becomes over the course of time. Now, I know it sounds kind of funny here, but what I want you guys to do, what we want you to do, and what is damn near required is that you fail constantly over and over. I want you to fail as many times as possible. Just make sure that you fail forward. And more importantly, make sure that you get up and keep going, because the winners are the ones that lose more times than the losers have ever tried. That's the truth, right? There's an actual quote on this, and I think I said it actually a few weeks back, is that the master has tried more times than the beginner has even attempted. And that is why he is the master. But by being a loser, you become a winner. So great job realizing that, fucking losing, but getting right back up and making that shit happen, dude, because the more times you do this and the more often, the more solidified this becomes in your identity. Once it becomes your identity, dude, you got to unlock. You got this on lock. And as long as you just continue that pattern and that behavior for the rest of your life, guess what, dude? You're living up here. You're living up here, man. And that's what this shit is all about, man. So guys, fail fast. Just make sure you fail forward and you get right back up, dude, because that's what this is all about. Losing over and over and over until you're a winner. Because if everybody had this shit on lock and you were a winner right away, we wouldn't appreciate where we came from first and foremost, and no one would care about this shit because everyone's a winner. You know what I mean? It's the whole thing with like, without sadness, we don't know happiness. So it's okay. It's absolutely okay. And it's completely part of the process, dude. It'd be a massive lie if I said that I did everything perfect. It'd be a massive lie if I said Jason never fucked up either. We all have our mess ups, right? But we understand it. We understand that we have these flaws, which is why we have them be part of our lifestyle now. So although they are quote unquote mistakes that occur, we know these mistakes happen, and it's what keeps us sane. It's what keeps us able to not just snap and just binge eat like crazy and just get fat again. That's what this is all about, dude. Through the failures, you will find yourself and what works for you. Because remember, if you follow our system to a T, you will crush. But it doesn't mean you have to do that. There are components and foundational principles that you must live by. Otherwise, you will ultimately fail. But you don't got to do everything exactly the same way everybody else does. So fail often, just fail forward, man. And you, through that process, you will find the perfect system for Bruce. And that goes the same for all of you guys, man. So just wanted to throw that out there. I think it's very important because it is actually on the lines of this call. Really. It's all one mind game, guys. It's all big one mind game. And this physical representation of who we are is literally a byproduct of our mental thought process. That is literally it. And the people who understand that are the ones that win. When they know that it's literally about training the brain. Although you train the brain like a muscle that you train in the gym. That's it. I just came from the gym. Shit. Why? I didn't want to. I was like, I got to get out, squeeze in one real quick. I don't want to do it. I was like, maybe I just won't go. And I said, maybe I'm a bitch if I don't. So I went. I went and I rushed my ass right back here. I don't know what happened. That's why I said back to alpha, a minute late, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? I did what I knew I needed to do. And when you do the things that you know you need to do to get to where you want to go, those feel the best. They feel the absolute best, man. When I feel like going and I go, awesome. I double down on it because I'm feeling great. When I feel like shit, I still go anyways because that feels even better than when I wanted to go. Because I'm like, dude, holy shit. I just kept the promise that I made to myself by staying consistent when I didn't want to. Dude, that's how winners win, dude. That's the recipe.
There's not a man in this Zoom call that will argue the point that the best feeling in the world is when you fucking complete something that you absolutely didn't want to do. Maybe you procrastinated on it. Maybe you tried to talk yourself out of it. Shit, maybe you delayed a project for a couple of days or maybe a couple of weeks. Maybe it was business related. But when you finally work yourself up to doing it, whether it workout, whatever, and you get it done, like that sense of fulfillment is as rewarding as it comes, right? Really fucking rewarding. I heard a podcast the other day and they were talking about, guy was like, man, I love coming home, sitting my ass on the couch, having a cold beer and watching Netflix. And the other guy was like, I love coming home, mowing my damn yard, sweating like a hog, and then coming in and grabbing a beer and watching Netflix. And I'm like, dude, like that sense of accomplishment is what, you can't be happy all the time, but you can certainly be fulfilled all the time. And I know you guys hear us talking about it a lot, but doing the hard shit when you don't want to do the hard shit is what discipline is, right? That's what it is. Discipline, your position in life right now is your level of discipline. How disciplined have you been and whatever the task at hand is in your execution skills? If you're not where you want to be with your career, have you executed in a way where you should be? Probably not, right? If you're not where you want to be with your health, have you been executing on the things that you know you should be doing? Probably not, right? That's all it is. It's doing the hard shit when we don't want to do the hard shit. And finding that path of least resistance is in your best interest. Now, Zach, I did find that video, dude, and we've talked about it a lot. It's pretty short. You guys want to check this video out that I've referenced about 12 times now?
Yeah. How long is it?
It's like 7 minutes. We got time. Why not? Let's roll. I think you guys will like it, man. Boom, boom.
Oh yeah, I remember this a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me share my sound. So hold on. Yeah, it's good, huh? Like I've been looking for it for a while. Here we go.
What do you think about when you see the word productivity? Maybe you think about focusing on a single task. Maybe you visualize a full list of tasks that have already been crossed off. Or maybe getting into a flow at work where time seems to pass you by and you hustle through all of your assignments. Whatever productivity means to you, it's something that you can achieve. See, productivity isn't just a course of action. Productivity is a state of mind. And I'm going to give it to you hard. A lot of recent research says that productivity is correlated with a trait called conscientiousness. It's a personality trait that you can't really change. But there's also research that contradicts this and says that you can push your boundaries if you work on it. You can change your brain, and I've seen it happen. I've seen lazy people change their efficiency, but that's because you're literally changing your brain. Now, we can mimic some conscientiousness habits, and through those habits, we can start to rewire our brain to become more productive. And I'm going to show you those habits. If you can rewire your brain to be more productive, you will start writing to-do lists and crossing everything off of them before you even know it. Tip number 1 is to start in the morning. Sunlight tells our brains when to get up and when it's time to wind down. So I suggest setting your alarm clock as the sun rises, and specifically if you can a little bit earlier, to give yourself time to get things done earlier. Have you ever experienced a morning when you wake up feeling refreshed and you're ready to take on the day, only the next day you feel groggy and irritable? Well, when we sleep, our bodies move through different cycles. If we wake up at the wrong time in those cycles, we might feel tired and lethargic throughout the entire morning. Well, a simple way to combat this is by downloading an app, something like Sleep Cycle. At night, you give the app a range of time when you'd like to get up, and then you place the phone near your bed. Based on your sleep cycle, the app will get you up at a time when you should feel refreshed and ready to take on the day. And trust me, I've tried this before, and it usually works. Tip number 2 is a segmented schedule. So you're up, and you're awake, and you're ready for the day. Now what? Well, you need to rewire your brain to think by the hours of the clock. From 9 to 10, you will focus on Project A. From 10 to 11, you will focus on Project B. From 11 to noon, you will focus on Project C. I recommend setting your schedule ahead of time to fit in all of the tasks that you'd like to get done for the day. A lot of people nag and they say, I can't work by a schedule, I feel constrained. Well, then you're setting up your schedule wrong. You should set it up with stuff that you want to do too. You should reward yourself. Treat yourself like a worker that you've hired. And if you don't reward or pay that worker and you just give them a whole bunch of stuff to do, you'd hate that schedule too. A schedule should be a helpful tool, not a confining jail. Also, don't forget to add breaks to your schedules. Leave your distractions or miscellaneous tasks to these designated break times. Something like an email, a Facebook message, or a daydream can completely derail your entire focus. And if your brain knows that it has a break coming up in a few minutes, it's more likely to put that distracting thought aside until that break. Something I highly recommend looking into is the Pomodoro technique. The Pomodoro technique is a way to schedule 2 hours of work with small breaks and long breaks in between. It's one of the most effective and proven ways to focus on a task at hand for just the right amount of time. Tip number 3 is productive awareness. Now, it can be hard to stop yourself from getting carried away with distracting thoughts. This lack of awareness is like the #1 killer of all productivity. Luckily, it's easy to take control of your awareness and use it to your advantage. Awareness requires recognizing where you are and what you are doing in the present moment. It's kind of like meditation. Take some time to be aware of your surroundings right now. What's happening in the room where you're sitting? What parts of your body are making contact with the chair, the table, or computer, or the articles of clothing that you're wearing? What do you see? What do you hear? Even weirder, what do you smell? Have you been reading and digesting the words in front of you, or have you been distracted by other thoughts? If you know that you get distracted easily and have trouble staying aware of the present moment, I highly recommend meditating or taking a workshop based on mindfulness. These activities can help you stay aware of your surroundings and thoughts all day long. And on the same note, you need to control your environment as much as possible. Try to find a place where distractions won't creep up on you. People won't come up to you, and you won't be daydreaming out the window. As you learn to be more aware of all of your thoughts, you will see distractions coming from a mile away, and hopefully you'll be able to shut them down. Tip number 4 is to hold yourself accountable. Schedules work because they give you an idea of what's coming up, and they also give you a goal to pursue. When you see that it's 2:30 and you know you have another half hour left to complete an assignment, you know that you can ramp up your focus or maybe give yourself a little bit of slack. Everyone works at different paces, and if you want to be truly productive, you have to find the pace that works for you. As you create your schedule, give yourself some time to make notes throughout the day. When did you feel tired? What helped you focus? Maybe what distracted you? You'll probably start to notice patterns after a couple days. Maybe you always feel tired at 2:30 in the afternoon, or maybe you feel better on the days that you do yoga in the morning. I give a more in-depth guide to tracking your natural productivity states in my full Psychology of Productivity course, but I'll talk a little bit more about it at the end of this video. Once you start to recognize the times when you feel most productive of the tools that help you, you can start to create a schedule that works for you and makes you more productive. Tip number 5 is positive validation. Did you accomplish your first task of the day in a timely manner? Well, congrats! That's great that you did that. Make sure you take a moment to cross that task off your list and pat yourself on the back, metaphorically. Positive validation can train you and your brain to chase anything, including productive habits and a laser beam focus. Just use basic conditioning to reward yourself. See, our brains naturally seek rewards and they try to retreat from pain. If you can rewire your brain to frame productivity as a truly rewarding way to live, your brain will start to crave productivity and it will look for a day full of accomplishments. Affirmations and positive validations show your brain that you truly want to cross tasks off your list, that you want to stay healthy, that you want to make money or do whatever it is that you actually want to do. For example, when I've had a really productive day, day, when I've gotten a lot of stuff done, I'll take some friends to a movie, or I'll go out to eat at a nice restaurant. I want to rewire my brain so that productive day equals fun evening. And it's working too, because when I start thinking about what I want to do in the evening for fun, my brain automatically looks for things to work on. I know it's kind of weird, and it's kind of a difficult feeling to explain, but you should definitely try it. Number 6 is to manifest your productivity. Do you really see yourself as a productive person? Maybe you don't. Today's the day to rewire your brain and change your own attitude. You need to throw out any doubts or memories of lazy days, because today you are a productive person. That's just who you are. Get it? You need to continue to manifest positive thoughts and visualize yourself as a productive person that you want to be. To give you some insight into this, I created a full 2-hour course on the psychology of
blah, blah, blah. So as you guys can see, like even highlighted in that video, all those things are shit that you guys know you could or should be doing, right? And they're all like little minor things, little adjustments here and little adjustments there. And if we're not living proactively, we're living reactively, right? And so I love that video because it really highlights just actionable things that you can do. That Pomodoro technique is something that I've been using. And man, because like I struggle, I work from home. We're moving right now. I don't have an office. My whole house is a fucking disaster. And so, man, like staying on task for me and with all this nonsense going around, it's a challenge, right? And so I find little ways to reward myself like that. And I'm still trying to work it in more so that I can have massively productive days, because we talked about this a little bit too. Is like, I'll be honest with you, and I think you guys can all probably agree. We all have probably about 4 hours of true solid productivity in our day, right? True four hours of real production. I don't have much beyond that. There are days where I can go 6, but man, after that, like my brain starts to focus on other things. And so I'm trying to incorporate ways where I can double down and maximize my productivity. And a lot of that is the things that I'm putting into my brain, right? Am I feeding my brain the right things? Am I telling my mind the right things? Am I telling myself that I'm a loser and that I'm failing and that like I'm not where I want to be? I used to do that, right? Like I used to feed my brain a lot of that. And I'm not going to tell you that I still don't have some challenging days mentally. We all do. But the reality is I know that the more that I focus on the positive things, the more that I incorporate some of the techniques we talked about tonight, some of the things he went over in that video, the better off my mindset is, right? And I think that we can all agree that's ultimately what's going to make us win big time. So what do you got, Zach?
Man.
You thinking? I see you got some words to get out.
Yeah, easy, dude. Like, I just want to wrap this up with giving them some type of actionable step to start changing the way the mind works. Okay. That video went over a lot of awesome techniques and strategy and just like getting the ball rolling and stuff like that. But it's like, okay, awesome. What step?
Where do I start? Yeah.
Yes. It's dumbass simple, guys. It's dumbass simple. If you want to rewire your brain and your thought process, literally just choose about 5 different points in the day when you focus on one particular thought. It's so easy, guys. So those of you who have been here for quite some time, you guys know that I used to be a completely different person, extremely aggressive, extremely biased, and very negative, right? I was just surrounded by those kinds of individuals. And when you're surrounded by those people, you think nothing is wrong with you until I started hanging out with real winners. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm glad that those guys even let me into their world. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I got to fix some shit immediately or I will be exiled, I guess we can say, right? Because they're going to be like, this guy's a piece of shit. So this is so simple. And actually, I learned this from a guy who is extremely wealthy as well. 5 points in the day. That's it. This is it. Okay. So identify 5 points in your day when you could think about one particular thing, and how you're going to think about it is going to be different depending on what kind of, how your brain works, I guess, right? Visual guy, thoughtful kind of guy, you have to write it out. I don't care what it is, but choose a time in the morning. Okay. So morning, maybe first thing when you wake up, maybe after you have your coffee, after you get ready for it, whatever the hell it is, choose a time that's convenient for you to literally take 10 seconds to think about what it is that you want to achieve. Whether it's like, I need to get those 6-pack abs. I'm going to be the fittest, most just healthiest version of me that I've ever been. 10 seconds, think about it. And then the second time you're going to do it is like in your car before you go to work. Okay. So, and that might be an hour later, that might be 2 hours later, shit, that might be 10 minutes later. It doesn't matter. We're just learning to start thinking about things and having these different places be the trigger points. So when you wake up or whenever the hell that time is, before you get into your car, when you're having lunch, when you're having dinner, wherever the hell it is, and when you're going to the gym. If you're not going to the gym, then do it when you're getting into your car after work. It doesn't matter when. All that matters is that you have enough touch points where you're consciously thinking about what it is that you're going to achieve. Because when your brain starts working in that way, you're going to start naturally adopting the behaviors that that person has and possesses, so that you can start to close the gap between where you are and who you want to become. So guys, it is dumbass simple. And me personally, it was just get the negative thoughts out of your head, right? So it was like, don't think negative, and then to think about one thing I'm thankful for in that moment. That's all I did. I did it in the morning. I did it in the car. I did it for lunch. I did it for dinner. I did it before the gym or whatever else it was, because I wasn't going to the gym 7 days a week. But guys, it's literally as simple as that. So that's my challenge to you, dude. 5 points in the day to take 5 to 10 seconds to think about what you are going to become, who you are going to become, so that your brain starts focusing on things that are going to be conducive to that. Okay. There's a part of your brain called, and this is perfect, actually, the reticular activating system. Okay. This part, it just attracts the shit that you find important to you, right? So the perfect example that I read in this book that I have is when you buy your car, right? Everybody knows when they buy a car, like, oh, dude, that car's dope. Nobody has that car. It's unique. It's nice. It's legit. Then when you buy the car, like, fuck, everybody has this car. What the fuck? What's going on? Everybody bought that shit now. Why they copying me, right? Or if you're in a crowd with a lot of people, but all of a sudden you hear somebody go, Dennis or Enrique, Dave, or whatever it is. You're like, what the hell? That was my name. In all of that noise, you identified that 1, 2, 3 syllables, that is your name. Why? Because it's important to you, because that's how you identify yourself. So the reticular activating system is responsible for, on a subconscious level, naturally trying to find the things that you find important. So if you start training your brain to think about the important things, you're going to slowly start adopting those behaviors and those thought patterns that's going to allow it to happen. And I know it sounds kind of funny, dude, but that's the way that this shit works, guys. This is how I became a massive chronic complainer, negative person, into somebody who is not so much. I'm not going to say I'm always positive. You know what? Let's be real here, right? But
I was about to say, don't lie.
Yeah, I'm a world different, dude. My life is a complete 180 now, guys. And this wouldn't have ever occurred if I didn't put a little bit of effort, right? Before it's effortless, it has to be effortful. So guys, sometimes with a little meditation, sometimes I would kind of forget. So you know what I did too to step it up? It sounds so crazy and fancy, right? I just wrote that shit on a piece of paper, a little sticky note, boom, wrote that there, slap it on my computer, slap it on my dashboard of my car, slap it on my office desk, whatever it is, slap it just somewhere, anywhere where you see it multiple times because you walk across it, and give it some conscious, effortful thought. And when you do, you are going to change the way that your mind works. And when you do, you are going to change your life. I promise. 5 times in a day, guys. 10 seconds. That's it.
Hell yeah. Oh, I love it. I got one little strategy I'm going to leave you guys with that I thought of while we were kind of going through this. And it's something that's really helped me. And I would challenge you guys to do this is anytime you're in a little bit of a rut, right? Anytime you catch yourself doing something that, maybe it's you're aware that you're supposed to be doing something, right? It's that moment where you're like, man, I know I need to go work out, or man, I know I need to get up and do this for my business or for my job, or I know I need to, man, I really should, I got a little bit of time now. I really should do a meditation instead of watching mindless Netflix. I'm just pulling shit out of the air. I learned this from somebody else. I'm not going to take credit for it, but he calls it a production pivot. And I've tried it and it works damn good. Is when I'm sitting there and I'm like trying to muster up the drive to do whatever my next project is, or to trying to, maybe it's muster up the drive to go clean up this guy's shit. I don't know. If I'm doing something though that I know is not benefiting me in the moment, and I know that I need to be doing something else, I will use that moment to do a production pivot and immediately do a simple task that moves me forward, right? So maybe it's not if it's a project, like let's use that for an example. Maybe I've got this, something, maybe I'm building out something for our business and it's a multi-day project, okay? And I'm dreading starting because that's the hardest part. And I'm sitting there and maybe I'm scrolling my phone, or maybe I'm sitting on the couch just aimless and don't want to do it, right? I will get up and I will do a production pivot. So I will go do one healthy habit. Maybe that's a quick walk around the block, 5-minute brisk pace walk. Maybe that's write down something in a journal that's positive, that is some positivity, to put some positivity in my mind. Maybe it is practicing gratitude. Maybe it is saying a little prayer or doing something that's going to put positivity in my mind. But I snap out of it by doing that production pivot. So what can I do to get just a slight bit of momentum going in my direction? So then it reframes my brain, but it also did something positive. And now I have another opportunity to reinitiate the project or to go to the gym or to, do the task at hand that I'm dreading, that I'm putting off, procrastinating towards. So, yep, pivot works great to avoiding negative people or things like that. Yep, no, I agree totally 100% there. So production pivot. So try what Zach said and try that. When you're in a rut, you're struggling, you are not feeling it, try the production pivot. I'll do that a lot when I'm trying to talk myself out of the gym. I'll just get my ass up and go. But that's not that easy. If you're really struggling, a full workout sometimes might not be digestible mentally for you. Maybe it's just about getting up and doing, like I said, a 5-minute walk, doing something to get the ball rolling in the right direction. So then now you have another opportunity. Now you get a reset, chance to go at it again. So, all right, that's what I got. Zach, what do you got? Bruce says, take a guess. What I will talk with my team tomorrow. Love it. Production pivot. Hell yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
Good shit.
Happy early birthday, by the way, too, man.
It works well. Yep.
Today, if Nate listens to this, happy birthday, Nate, and happy early birthday to you, Bruce.
Yep. We'll wish you a real happy birthday on that day. But yeah, happy early birthday, dude. 42, yeah? Our team told me today that you're going to be 32, and I was like, no.
Yeah, I'm like, hold on, check your shit again, dude. I talked to him. He's not 32. He told me.
Bruce is okay with being called 32, I'm sure.
Yeah, look, you guys already got my hat, man. I'm loving life. So.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. You got it.
Yeah.
Nice, dude. Good shit. Hey, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that class, man. This was a very hard-hitting class for us. We got a lot of buzz around this class in the Fatherhood, and we hope you got just as much value as our clients in the Fatherhood also got. And again, one more reminder, if you got value out of today's class, today's episode, please just share the show with one father in your life who you know will get a little bit better because of it. One final thing, I have started a brand new Instagram account. I am no longer at Jason A. Priest. I am now at _Jason Priest. I've got a lot of brand new content coming out over there. So come get connected with me on my brand new Instagram account. And we'll see you guys in next week's episode. Again, I hope you loved the class today, just like our guys did. And we'll see you next week. Get out there. Today is Momentum Monday. Get out there and crush it this week. No excuses. And we'll talk to you next week. Take care.